Thanks, David, and thanks, Daryl, also for the introduction to ESG. After my introduction, we have a panel discussion, but before I introduce or invite my panelists, let me just set the stage a little bit. First of all, let's talk about ESG. And ESG is a much discussed topic and is increasingly plays an important part in our investment decisions. Thank you. We now have the GRASP, as you all probably are aware. It helps track the ESG performance of the portfolios. But ESG is a very broad topic, and it means many things to different people. And all of these ESG topics are important, but the problem we have that is if everything is equally important, nothing gets prioritized. And without underestimating the S and the G, we believe that as an investor, we should give priority to the E of ESG. And the E stands for environmental and is about biodiversity and climate. As an investor, and today, let's focus on the climate. And there are many ways to look at climate risk issues. There are important societal challenges. We have a joint responsibility to leave a better Earth to our children. We have to address the climate risks that potentially harm the planet. And that's all true. But for today's discussion, I'd like to approach climate risk purely from an investor point of view. And as an investor, I'm concerned about returns and risks. And we see climate risk as a financial risk. So we have to address that. And climate change is increasingly becoming a political debate. The beauty of talking about climate risk as a financial risk, for me, is it doesn't really matter if you believe in climate change. So we all know that in the US, compared to the EU, there sometimes is a different view if there is a climate change or not. But let's put it aside. The financial risks are there. And as with any risk, you have to address them in the business plan. And at the same time, improving resilience to climate risk equally can pay off. I'll give you a couple of examples later. And climate risk are you can divide it in two risks. It's physical risk and it's transition risk. The panel discussion, we will talk about the transition risk. But first, physical risk. It's about the effects that climate has on your properties, basically. And whether